Hello, everybody, and welcome to 2 Point Museum. As you probably saw in the title of the video, assuming I title it what I think I'm going to title it, as I'm recording this, I actually don't know. I haven't, uploaded the video yet, but if I did go with the title, yes, I have been working for museums or in and around the museum world for the past 10 years or so. So I am very experienced, and when I saw this game, I had to jump and get the game when it came out. Technically, I got it a little bit before it came out, but minor details. So this game is amazing, honestly. And if you've been playing it, let me know in the comments below what you think about it. I personally love this game. I think it is phenomenal. I played some of the other 2 Point games. I played 2 Point Hospital. I never played Campus. It didn't really grab me. Hospital was really, really fun, but 2 Point Museum, honestly, I think this might be the pinnacle. I think this might be the best 2 Point game that they have released. Let me know, of course, your thoughts in the comments if you agree with me or not. But yeah, so what we're doing here today is kind of in the speed build style that I normally do here on the channel. We are making a museum, and this is in sandbox mode. I have been playing the campaign. In fact, I'm almost done with the campaign. I wanted to do that before I created any videos, just to kind of get a feel for the game, get a grasp of the things that were going on and the mechanics in the game, and that sort of stuff here. And I feel like I kind of understand it enough to where I could say, okay, let me sit down and actually record a couple videos for you all and try to make a museum for the channel. And so what I'm attempting to do here is make a museum that is both realistic from my understanding, having worked in museums again for the past decade or so, and then making it aesthetically pleasing, but also kind of following the 2 Point style. I actually was watching a few videos. I've been watching videos almost nonstop on this game because I love it so much. I can't get enough of it. But I was watching, I forget who it was. Who was it? I forget. Geekism. I was watching Geekism play, and I like his style of videos that he was doing. He was doing more of a live play, which, of course, if you've been following the channel before and know that I've been working for museums and everything, you also will know that my style is more of a more of a speed build style with the occasional live play element in there. We may be adding more live play into this channel in the future. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts, of course, again, in the comments. Let me know if you would like to see me play these games in live action, sort of quote unquote unedited. But yeah, I decided to make this, in the style that I have been for the channel so far, and try to fit everything that I could into this museum, again, from all of my experience in the museum world. So yeah, for those of you that are new, I used to work in a art and science and history museum in Daytona Beach, Florida. Now I work in a art museum in Orlando, and it is a world's difference, but they are pretty similar. And so what I'm starting to understand now is that all museums kind of are pretty similar in a lot of regards here. But yeah, I am playing around with a lot of this. I'm still trying to learn the format of this game, and I don't actually know if we're going to be uploading a ton of these videos just because I don't know that it really fits the channel. Obviously, it fits my real world experience and my knowledge here, and I definitely want to use these videos to talk to you guys about sort of my experiences and the stuff that I've learned, stuff that I think you all would find interesting. But I don't know how many of these videos would actually be, I would actually put out. I know I'm planning on 3. So for the next 2 weeks, if you are hoping for a Prehistoric Kingdom video, unless they release a random update or a random dev diary, I'm going to be playing this game again for the next 3 weeks. So hopefully you all enjoy it. If you do, please support the channel. Please give it a like and a follow if you're new here. If you aren't, normally I've been playing Prehistoric Kingdom. Apologies. I've been playing Prehistoric Kingdom, which is a phenomenal little game. If you haven't seen any of that on the channel already, highly recommend you to go and check those out. But yeah, anyway, getting back to the video, I've rambled on quite enough. I'm trying to stick to the format that this building had when you load into it. This is the Memento Mile. That is the sort of starting museum that you get when you play the game for the first time, when you load up the campaign. And I really like this museum. To me, it's very reminiscent of the Royal Museum or the British Museum in London, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, if anybody is from the UK, but the British Museum is basically the pinnacle of museums around the world. It's the one that almost all other museums around the world sort of look to as a inspiration. What I'm doing here, though, with these amber pieces is I'm sectioning off this into a little gallery space. So one thing that I haven't seen a lot of people do working in museums is very common, is having individual rooms that are called galleries. And these are pretty much sectioned off areas where you can keep, like items in them, or a lot of times, more often than not, these are rooms that are sponsored. So, for instance, the museum that I work for now has the Lockheed Martin gallery. There's actually 2 Lockheed Martin galleries, or, they're named after sponsors and donors, people like that have given the museum a lot of money, and they'll slap their name on a room in there. And sometimes those gallery spaces will have things that are tied to those rooms specifically. What I mean by that is essentially, so say this room here was sponsored by someone. I don't know the name of the sponsor for this specific gallery. If you have a name, feel free to drop it in the comments. But this would be sort of the amber room, the amber gallery, and would only, from now on into the future, would have amber fossils in this gallery space. And if we wanted to change it out, we would have to contact the donors first and ask, hey, is this cool? Can we do this? Can we change this? There's a lot of really small, like, minutia stuff in there. But yeah, I haven't seen a lot of people creating these little gallery spaces here. So I figured I would make a kind of realistic, believable gallery space. And typically you would have a long hallway or a sort of atrium rotunda where the guest would enter in, kind of like how we have here. It's a little hard to know the perspective of this game because some of these exhibits are absolutely massive, especially when it comes to the aquarium marine section that you'll see 2 videos from now. We're going to do the marine stuff, but those aquariums are absolutely massive. And for instance, one of the fish that you get in this game is a clownfish. Now, because it's 2-point county or 2-point games, it's a fish with a clown nose and clown makeup. So it's pretty funny on that regard. But a clownfish in real life really doesn't need that big of a aquarium. Obviously, you can put them in a big aquarium, but they're really, really small fish. I'll try to throw a picture up here if I remember of a real clownfish, if you haven't seen one, or, go watch Finding Nemo. But yeah, they don't really need a huge aquarium space to be housed in. But yeah, so anyway, getting back to it, what I'm doing here is I am making the backstage staff area. And with a lot of these staff rooms, I want to close them off. I have seen a lot of people do this, and from my experience, this is pretty realistic of having a staff space that is out of view of the guests. It is kind of tucked away in a back corner of the museum, or in this case, the front corner of the museum. And it's a place that the staff can easily access, easily go, and not interact with the guests necessarily all day while they're working. Or in some cases, for like a curatorial space, you would actually want that to be a little hidden away so that the guest can't view everything behind the scenes in that museum. I haven't seen a lot of people do a quote-unquote curatorial space or storage space. This game sort of provides a in-game storage space for a lot of the exhibits that you would be placing. And, it works. It's a hidden away area. But yeah, so I'm adding in a bunch of different stuff here. I'm adding in the marketing room right now. What you saw me add before was the training area, and then the actual staff room in there. And I gotta say, with the recommended space that they tell you to have in this game for these rooms, it's really, really fiddly to get it around there. You guys are just seeing the sped up version, and it looks super easy to put it all in there, but I mean it genuinely took quite a while to get everything lined up and maneuvered and situated just perfectly. And honestly, to me, is one of the least fun parts of this game is the fiddly ness of it. But a lot of the games that we end up playing on this channel are fiddly in one way or another. So it just kind of is what it is. We're adding in these lights back here, and I really, really love it. I love these lights. I love the way they look. Again, very reminiscent of the area in and around the Royal Museum or the British Museum in London, but also kind of familiar in regards to the American Natural History Museum in New York, if anybody has been there. Very familiar in that regard too. But, those lights really make me wish that we had a day-night cycle. I know a lot of people do not want a day-night cycle, and I get it, I respect it, but personally, day-night cycles in games are one of my favorite things, to get to showcase all of the lighting effects, all of the bloom, especially in games like this where you can build something. The day-night cycle is where you kind of get to show off a little bit, especially in these videos of like, these are all the lights that I put down, and look at how beautiful it looks at night. Yeah, I don't know. I know a lot of people don't like day-night cycles, and I get it. Again, I respect it. But yeah, I wish we had one, or at least a option to toggle it on and off here. This is the workshop space here. Again, if you haven't played the game, this is what you need to build new interactive exhibits. This is very 2-point style. This is not a real thing in real museums. And then this here, a analysis space that is also very 2-point style, very silly, but is really fun. So basically, if you get a duplicate of a exhibit, you would drop it into this contraption here in the center, and it would break it down into its parts so that you could learn more about that exhibit and study it and that sort of stuff. While this sort of style is not all that realistic, analysis rooms in general are fairly realistic. And what I mean by that is not to say that they have rooms, kind of like this where they would break down things, but I'll try to put up a picture of the one at the La Brea Museum in Los Angeles, because I think in my mind that's one of the best in the world. If you know of a better one, of course, let me know. But from what I've seen, their analysis room at the La Brea Tar Pits is one of the coolest, one of the best in the world, where they can actually bring these fossils in and take bits and pieces out of those fossils and the tar to study them in a much deeper capacity, in a much deeper way. And a lot of times when you study fossils like that, you have to cut into and manipulate and alter those fossils, and in a lot of cases you may destroy that fossil. It's not always intentional, of course, but it may happen, unfortunately. And so it's not entirely realistic to have one just completely destroy it, but it's also not entirely unheard of. Here we are again, just adjusting these hedges here. I couldn't really find a good way that they would sit on this pathway here. Again, very fiddly. The controls are pretty fiddly when it comes to adjusting some of this stuff, but yeah, we're adjusting it here. And my plan for this outside area eventually, if this series keeps going, is to maybe do sort of a like botanical garden outside. There's a lot of botanical elements in here, or plant elements in this game. You can send expeditions to go and find exotic plants to bring back to your museum. And, I think that's really fun, really cool. And we could put those outside. I actually did that in my campaign museum just to test it out to see if you could. And you can very easily, as long as you have enough security guards to watch it. It's no problem. And, I think that's great. So here we are finally adding in the staff. We're getting ready to open the museum here to the public, and it is always a joyous day whenever you get to open up one of these institutions to the public here to let them in to see. So we're putting these fossils here in this little hallway space. You could call this a gallery. I would more so call this a hallway, just because it kind of connects other gallery spaces. But there are galleries that I've seen that do sort of connect other galleries together. It's really weird when it happens, but it can happen. So what I end up doing here is kind of using this hallway entrance area as a buffer zone for a lot of these smaller fossils that you would have typically dotted throughout. They're not really the main thing that you go and see. They're not a big T-Rex skeleton or something, but they're ammonites, they're trilobites, they're smaller things throughout history that are fossilized that are still really cool and really interesting to talk about in their own right. But all right, so right here, I am adding in the sponsorships. I'm adding in the Cheesy Grubbins plushies into the gift shop here. And this is, again, pretty realistic on a real museum. You would have sponsors basically everywhere throughout a museum. My previous museum that I was at had really big sponsors for some exhibits. We had a exhibit for the Megalodon, which was a really fun one to work on and sort of get to help curate that exhibit. But the sponsorship for that wanted their sponsor name to be plastered everywhere. And so since I don't work for this museum anymore, I can say whatever I want pretty much. And honestly, it looked kind of tacky, if I'm being completely honest. And the sponsor had their name plastered everywhere, and they brought in a ton of money to the museum. They were able to have buses wrapped with the name of the exhibit and the name of their sponsorship. But they were very adamant about having certain things in there. And then typically in a museum space, you would not have that happen. But again, this museum that I was at prior did. And yeah, it was something to behold. But fortunately, we don't have to do that too much here in Two Point Museum. We can kind of pick and choose our sponsors, as you should with a real museum, is to pick and choose the sponsorships wisely. I'm changing out the helicopter skin here, and I was trying to find a way to guard it off from guests walking too close. To me, a helicopter sitting out on the ground like that is a prime target for guests to walk up to and try to interact with and stuff. And unless you are a aviation museum, which are really, really cool, we have a lot of those here in Florida too. Unless you're an aviation museum and you have a deactivated helicopter on the ground, I wouldn't want guests that close to a real helicopter. Now, this is a really cool part of the game here, is the expedition system. And it's very gamified in the sense that in a real museum setting today, in 2025, when this video is coming out, if you're watching it afterwards, maybe it'll change. Who knows? Who knows? A lot of things are changing in the world. But in the year of our Lord, 2025, the expedition thing is kind of not realistic. And what I mean by that is it is a very cool, very unique gamified element. But at least here in America, where I am sort of basing my knowledge off of, museums very rarely do expeditions to sort of find and collect things. Almost everything that you will see in museums today was donated or collected a long, long time ago. Not in a galaxy far, far away, though there is a museum coming to Los Angeles that will house stuff from a galaxy far, far away. I think something this year, but that's to be seen. But anyway, the American Alliance of Museums, or AAM, fortunately, both of the museums that I have worked for were AAM accredited, which is a big feat, but it basically means that those museums adhere to a standard quality of their exhibits, and it means that they follow the Indigenous Reappropriation Act of 1977, which means that, and you've probably heard about this in the news, of namely the Met and the British Museum, that I will call out here on this video, of being asked by native countries to give back exhibits give back artifacts that belong to those countries, and they just refuse. That is not okay. That is not right. And the provenance, that is the actual word. If you don't know about the term provenance, sort of what it means, I'll actually link down to a video from John Oliver. It's a really great video where he talks about provenance. But if you don't know what it means, basically it means the history of a piece. Where did it come from? Who got it? Who found it? Was it acquired legally and actually really safely for that museum to be displayed? If it was found after 1977 in the world of museums today, they cannot take it. They cannot, they cannot take it unless you have all of the history of that piece. If you have documentation saying that it was something, a fossil or a artifact found before 1977, legally you can keep it under that Reappropriation Act. You can keep it. I will also link down to that below as well. It's a really interesting thing. But yeah, anyway, kind of rambling now, and we're nearing the end of the video. Sending out a couple more expeditions here, and we are going to round out this video in a couple of seconds once we reach our first star. And so here we are. We've reached our first star. yeah, I kind of rambled in this video. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you actually like this, if you like these kind of videos. And like I said, we'll be releasing 2 more of these on the channel. But yeah, let me know what you think. And if you did, thank you so much for watching. And we'll see you in the next one. Until then, bye-bye.